Welcome. Having booked this trip weeks in advance, we were a little perturbed to find out 3 days before our arrival that the Gorge Loop Trail within Watkins Glen State Park would be closing on our first full day there. Arriving late on Saturday night, our hotelier was, shall we say, less than enamoured with the decision to close the park loop several weeks earlier than expected. Normally it closes at the point of the first winter snow, rather than the peak of autumn colours, which pulls in masses of tourists. So well done to whomever took that decision. We were concerned what effect this would have on the number of visitors during our one and only day with the chance to take photos. So with that in mind, we set off pretty early on the Sunday morning and arrived at an empty upper car park, which did not disappoint us. The Gorge Trail was just a short walk away, albeit quite a few steps need to be negotiated if you're thinking of visiting. With the sun only just over the horizon as we arrived, the walk along the upper gorge was pretty dark, but even so it was still very pretty. The enforced time limit meant we had made some choices as we'd driven to Watkins Glen the night before. Top of the list was Rainbow Falls. Looking at the scene, I'm trying to get the main waterfalls, the side waterfall and the stone bridge into the scene with as much colour as possible, whilst trying to avoid the sky. Moving to the right removes the sky okay, but then you start to lose the bridge. The stone footpath also makes for a really nice leading line, so it's all about trying to manage and balance those criteria. You can see Mrs. Faceless set up here as I check out the options. I know the saying of trying to avoid honeypot locations, and this is definitely one of those, but we'd never been here before, so why wouldn't we go there and photograph it? And that's not a bad first shot, if I may say so. We are caught in a bit of a quandary here. We have the spot sorted and there's very few people about, but there's not really any light yet. If we wait, I guess it will get too busy. So we're just going to have to keep snapping until we can't. After grabbing a few different shots, some photographers and dog walkers turned up, so we took a little wander down to Central Cascade. Mrs. Faceless was after the waterfall under the bridge shot. Whilst I went for something a little different. As expected, by about 10 AM, the crowds had descended. So we wandered back up to Rainbow Falls and it was way too busy to photograph. Thusly, we headed back to the upper car park, which was way less peoply. stopping only to take in the view of a jaunty native, a mink, I think, darting along the rock face before jumping into the water and swimming off. With the sun up and a blue sky, that meant it was time for breakfast, away from the madding, or is that maddening, crowds. So with desires of caffeination, we headed off exploring, and found this lovely diner in a place called Hector. The place seemed really quite busy, which we took as a good sign. So we grabbed a table, partook of copious amounts of coffee, and had a couple of breakfast specials that we simply couldn't refuse. The pretty little town of Watkins Glen sits at the southern end of Seneca Lake. As we returned, we still had blue skies and sun, but there was a little chill in the air. Also prevalent was a clear increase in visitors, so we took a few shortcuts around the traffic as we made our way back to Watkins Glen State Park. Our timing was impeccable as we managed to get into the main car park. It was now mid-afternoon and I immediately headed for the Gorge Trail, except this time we did so from the touristy end, where Mrs. Faceless instantly forgot why we were there and immersed herself in the eye, grabbing leaflets while I went to explore the exhibit detailing the formation of the gorge through glacial action. Then, the work being undertaken on the old Sentry Bridge. This beautiful old bridge had been removed earlier in the year and is up for replacement. I understand it was old and it was no longer fit for purpose, but seeing the renderings of the new structure, my mind simply conjured up the words hideous and eyesore. Maybe it will look better in real life. And this being New York State, I am sure someone somewhere is making a pretty penny out of this project. We took the detour and joined up again with the Gorge Trail. As we climbed from the bottom, there was a small break in the throng of tourists, time enough for Mrs. Faceless to stop for a quick shot of the gorge. My target on this climb is Central Cascade, and 10,000 people. Well, not quite, but you get the idea. As we waited and chatted to some other photographers, it was clear that not everyone knew that the trail would be closing at sunset. The wait was worth it as the sun bathed the bridge in beautiful golden light. As we were so close, we quickly wandered around the corner to get one last look at Rainbow Falls, and obviously grab a pic or two. As the sun disappeared, the temperatures dropped, as did the available light. So it was time to head back to the car with just one quick stop to grab a final image of our one-day visit to Watkins Glen State Park. The golden trees in the distance making a stark contrast to the rich but darker greens and reds in the gorge. All in all, a really nice visit. Shame it was so rushed. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed travelling along with us today, a like and a subscribe would be much appreciated. Until next time.